Thank you. Maura, will I hand over to yourself, or yourself, Eamon, to read into the record a decision that was taken in respect to Appendix 4, LA 11 2020 0598.
Yes, Chair. Members of the Planning Committee voted on item 4, LA 11 2020 0598 stroke F. The recommendation for this application was to refuse. The proposal was to not accept the recommendation of this application subject to an occupancy condition, and the application was voted on, and the application was accepted and will be subject to approval. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. We're going to move on now to item number 8, is the Sony Draft Electricity Transmission Network Plan 2020 to 29, and Francis is going to take us through
that. Thank you, Chair and members. Yes, as set out in report, members, this consultation has been received from Sony, which is the overarching body for network transmission for electricity in Northern Ireland. It's a long-term strategy, a high-level plan that they've put forward for the next 10 years. We have set out, the key points in it, key pages for the northwest area. So I take them as read, Chair. Basically, this is a high-level document, and I think we have prepared a draft response. The members are happy with. It sets out that there will be a significant investment in infrastructure next 10 years, which is obviously now for district, so do environmental safeguards, and particularly through planning, as set out in the current policy and also in the LDP. So if members are satisfied, the recommendation is that we proceed to issue a letter along the lines of that set out in the appendix. But we would also take in any contributions from any other departments from within the council, particularly the likes of the energy strategy or climate strategy or business. But we believe that it's probably along those lines. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Francis. Members, are we content with the consultation response? Is there any comment?
Can I comment on that?
Yeah, Councillor Kelly, go ahead.
I do note the reference from Sony to because of the development of renewable energy across this district over the past while, that they will have to upgrade the network in terms of security of supply. But I have to say that given the applications that come to committee that have been determined and previously at the Department of the Environment, there was no suggestion at any point that there were problems with the transmission network. In fact, to go when those NIE or Sony, whoever was consulted on this. So it is a bit concerning to see that because of the wind farms that are approved, that we could be looking at, and it's no guarantee, but we could be looking at a large visually impactful transmission network, of pylons, because there's no guarantee it's not going to be pylons across the district over the next 10 years. I just want to highlight that issue because it's irritating, because all of these things are supposed to be assessed at the one and the same time, but just approving wind farms and then coming back then down the road and telling us, oh, no, we're going to have pylons crisscrossing the district to bring the electricity from rural locations into urban centres is a cause for concern around how they operate. And I want to flag that up.
Point well made, Dan. Thank you. I don't know. All our Councillor Dobbins had indicated she agrees with you wholeheartedly. Members, any further comments? No. We'll move on to item number 9. Apologies, members. In relation to that, we're going to need a proposer to accept or to agree that they agree to the consultation. So,
To propose, Chair.
propose Councillor Dobbins.
Yep.
As Chair, we definitely need to respond.
Okay. Is that everybody content, members? Yeah. Thank you. That's unanimous. Number 9, Prentice, the Mid Ulster Counter Representation Consultation. You want to take us through that?
Okay, thank you, Chair and members. The consultation received fairly recently from Mid Ulster District Council. They are approximately the same stage as ourselves in the preparation of their LDP. They have recently completed a reconsultation on their draft plan strategy, and they have now issued a letter to ourselves as an adjoining council, really just to say that their representations are now available for inspection and that we have 8 weeks if we wish to submit any counter representations to those representations. So really, they are at the stage they're probably 2 or 3 weeks ahead of ourselves. In terms of, as set out in the report, basically, this council has examined the draft plan strategy of Mid Ulster, and we only join them for literally about 5 miles along the Glenelly Valley, but they are an adjoining council. There are a number of designations, and we've set them out in the report, which this council have considered. We are happy, in our opinion. They are broadly similar to the measures which we have in our draft plan strategy. For example, they have a special countryside area in the high sparrans. They have an area of constraint on high structures and high turbines. They've got an area of constraint on minerals development. They've got tourism opportunity zones. Those are the main spatial policies which are close to and are similar and would affect our district. So, as set out in the letter here, we would suggest that it would be appropriate for this council to submit a letter which broadly reiterates our support for those site-specific strategic policies from Mid Ulster, and in a slight change to the drafted letter there, we would name a couple of specific representations to which we are making our counter representation. So, for example, there's a couple of representations were submitted by, say, the wind companies which are against the restrictions in that district. Similarly, for minerals, so saying that we are in support of those strategic policies. So if members are happy, we would suggest that we would submit this counter representation letter as set out with those minor adjustments to it. Happy to take any questions,
Okay.
councillors.
Thank you, Prentice. Councillor Kelly.
Thank you, Chair. Just in the interest of briefness, I think Prentice will be delighted to hear that I concur with all of his remarks. We have worked very closely with our neighbouring council. I think the letter actually captures very succinctly the issues and our response to them, and I was delighted to read it. Thank
you. So, Councillor Kelly, you happy to propose that we accept?
Yeah, Chair. Thank you.
And Councillor Boyle, seconded.
Yeah, that's a second.
Yeah. Is there any dissenting voices? We're all in agreement. Yep. Thank you. members, as was outlined earlier, items number 10 to number 17 are open for information. I'm going to take them as read and move on that basis. I'm conscious that we are pushed for time. So I'm going to ask for at a future meeting that they remain on the agenda out of a future meeting as open for information in case anybody wishes to make any comments in relation to them. So items number 10 to 17 are open for information. We're taking them as read, but if there's any questions, queries in relation to them, an opportunity will be provided in a future meeting. Councillor Boyle.
Chair, just briefly, and I know you're obviously pushed for time. There was reference by yourself. Clearly, this is our last planning committee meeting of this particular calendar year, and what a year it's been. That there would perhaps be some meetings into the new year. So, can we get a timetable for them out as quickly as we can? So as people know, well, obviously you know with yourself, Chair, you want to be organised for coming into the new year. And all of the various challenges that might bring. Hopefully, Chair, as well, we'll get back to normal sooner rather than later, and we can all get back into meeting again physically together, because I think you'll agree this format's all right, but it's not perfect for us, and it does have its technical challenges. So if we can get that out, Chair, it gives us all a wee bit of a better heads up.
Appreciate that, Councillor Boyle. And maybe I don't want to get anybody's hopes up at the earlier part of the meeting, but I was promised that officers will do everything in their power to avoid an extra meeting in January. But again, I don't want to make any promises that I can't stand over. I don't know if Maura or Eamon want to come in and just add anything to that.
Yes, Chair. It's really about timing and, being able to, because of Christmas, we've got schedules and deadlines and we might be restricted. That's sometimes makes it difficult, to get certain items on where we're possibly under pressure, but also it's about spreading out, the workload for yourselves and for officers. But at this point, we don't have specific dates. But we will in a number of weeks, maybe just after Christmas, we'll have a better idea about the schedule for the months up to the end of the year, in terms of January, February, March. But we will be obviously trying to hopefully put the business all within 3 meetings as normal. It just might mean that there are some circumstances where we might have to put on a special meeting, depending if we've got quite a number of them that are running through outside the scheduled times, and there might be pressure on those particular applications for various reasons that we might want to try and progress and put obviously into the committee to make decisions on. So that's kind of what's behind it. But maybe, Eamon, do you want to come in as well there?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Maura. Members, look, as Maura said, the Chair said, we'll do everything we can to manage this process. We don't want to have meetings that are, that have to run successively, for 2 very lengthy days, Wednesdays and Thursdays. As Maura has said, we will suggest additional dates only if they're absolutely necessary. As members will all agree and understand, we come under increasing pressure in the last quarter to try and get certain applications through, whether they're social housing, whether they're business or whatever. I'm sure members would want to get those applications through if they're ready. So as Maura has said, we'll be in a better position early January to outline to members what we think the programme is going to be between January and March. Thank you, Chair.
And there's one item of business that hasn't been covered, and it's in relation to the matters arising from the confidential minutes. So can I ask for a proposer to go into confidential yet again? Councillor Boyd, to go into confidential. And once again, can we beg and